Welcome back to another exciting flashlight review. This is one that a lot of you have been interested in seeing. It's the Wuben X-1, and I've been using this flashlight for about a week now. It's something I like to do just to make sure that there's nothing unexpected, no hiccups that sort of surface within that week of use. So I want to go through and just talk about what's included with the box. So you get this holster. I really like the holster and the fact that Wuben have included it as well, because 300 something gram flashlight, having something that you can attach on your belt is just going to make it a lot easier to carry around with you. I have actually put it in my pocket and found that it fits fine, but it is a little bit heavy, so make sure you're wearing a belt. You're going to have some problems there. You also get this lanyard. I haven't used this lanyard myself. I tend to actually use flashlights mainly without a lanyard unless they're a little bit larger, but ones that I carry around with me, or if you've got a holster, I will use that instead. Here you've also got a USB-C to USB-C charging cable, and you also get an instruction booklet, a little bit of a closer up of the light. Now it's 12,000 lumens, and what I find amazing about this light is that it's actually quite practical, because when it ramps down, it actually ramps down to about 2,500 to 3,000 lumens. So it does sustain that output for a significant period of time, and I think that's important with a flashlight, especially a larger flashlight like this. There's no point carrying around a really large light unless it can perform and sustain its lumens. So I'll talk a bit more about that in the performance. I find that most lights of this output, 12,000, 10 to 10 plus thousand lumens, get way too hot to be practical. And one I can compare it to is my Immelin MS03. I can barely hold that thing after a few minutes, but there's an inbuilt fan. It's actually quite amazing. You can see the heat sink there and the fan sort of grills there on that side, and that works really well to dissipate the heat. So a lot of the heat's just generated in the head and dissipated. You barely sort of feel it down here. It just gets a bit warm even when you've got that flashlight on for a significant period of time. But again, I'll talk a bit about that later, but that's something I've been quite impressed, and I guess related to the high performance of this flashlight. I'm also relieved that it is quiet. So with this fan on, and I'm comparing it again to my Immelin MR90, the thing is just so loud when I turn it on, and I don't really use it on those high modes for that particular reason. It sounds like the spinning of a pocket hard drive, probably a little bit quieter than that, so definitely not noticeable as well. So overall, as you can see, rugged, high quality construction. Mine comes in the black anodization. It's a little bit shiny, but you can also get this one in the white micro arc oxidation, quite similar to the Wuben X0. And when I took this thing out of the box, I thought it was quite funny because it looks like one of those tasers that people keep around, those illegal tasers, but no, it's not a taser, it's a flashlight. So it's definitely quite solid, as you can see in the hand, and feels like it's something out of a sci-fi prop. With the Wuben X0, it's also got these, these sort of cutouts, these really nice machining and interesting designs out here. And one thing I like is that even though there's all these sort of harsher looking edges, they're actually not sharp at all. They've been machined down so that you don't have any kind of parts that are sticking out that are going to cause an issue in your pocket or just even holding it. So really like the design. It's unique, and I really respect the fact that Wuben are trying something different compared to all the other flashlight companies out there. I have seen a few other these flatter flashlights from Olight, but not something like this that produces such a high output. So here is a little close-up of the reflector and the bezel, and as you can see, you've got the three XHP 70.2 LEDs with three horizontal overlapping OP reflectors, and I think that's a really good choice for this type of light, especially with the orange peel reflectors. Just maximizes the smoothness of the beam. The bezel is obviously pretty similar. The finish is the same as the body and same sort of design. You've got a bunch of screws there, so I'm pretty sure you can unscrew it and get into the head if you'd like. Glass lens, which is good, so like a custom glass lens. I find that the heat sinking and the heat dissipation, like I mentioned before, is very effective, and it also activates by temperature readings rather than a timer. So, when I turn it on, for example, and I double press it on turbo, it doesn't actually activate until a certain point, but I'll actually go through and talk about that more in the performance later on. So you can see I activate the turbo at different points, and it ramps down differently depending on how hot the flashlight is. So the Wuben X-1 is powered by two 21700 cells. They appear to be replaceable, but Wuben does say in the manual not to disassemble the flashlight, so you can do so at your own risk. Now let's go through the UI a little bit. Now I've actually deactivated the lock mode, but when you get the flashlight, it's locked. So in order to lock the flashlight, you just press this button 4 times. Okay. The front light flashes for a bit, but then when you press that button again, you just get this little light here that flashes right there. Let me just press it so you can see. Okay, a little kind of blue flashy light. Okay, here in the center. So that just tells you that the light is locked, and in order to unlock it, just press it 4 times again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, to go to all the different modes, so if you want to activate the moonlight mode or the lowest mode, really, you just press and hold that button. Okay. You can also just turn it off, turn it back on again, goes to that lowest mode. You can press and hold that button and it just ramps up. Okay, so you got low, medium, high, and then the highest mode. Okay, back again like that. At any point as well, you can activate turbo. So if the flashlight is off, just double tap and that allows you to access turbo. You can turn it off. Maybe you're in this mode and you need access turbo, double tap and you can get it. I think that's good because in the X1 I found that you actually have to turn the flashlight on first and then double tap in order to access turbo, because double tapping from off will just go into strobe. So really good to know that you can access turbo directly from the off position. There's also a couple of other hidden modes in here. So if you click this button 3 times, you get access to strobe. 3 more times, it goes over to the SOS mode. Okay. And you sort of click to turn it off. So there's a couple of hidden modes in there which might be useful here or there. It comes with USB-C charging, so just under this port next to the heatsink, as you can see, and it's PD charging as well at 3 amps. So this is a quick ceiling bounce test that I ran on the Wuben X1, and you can see I've activated turbo at the start. At the 45-second mark, it begins to ramp down. 1 minute, it's about 25 to 30% of the output and just holds, okay? And that is the 2,500 to 3,000 lumen point. The fan keeps going, but it actually eventually stops. And I find that because of the amount of heat sinking, natural heat sinking due to the size of this flashlight, the fan doesn't need to be on afterwards. So only when you're sort of up on the high modes, and perhaps maybe when you're using the flashlight in hotter environments, it might activate, but I found that the fan did turn off eventually when it was on the high mode. So that was pretty nice to see. And I've activated turbo mode again at the 2.5 minute mark, and you can see it only lasts for not even half a minute before it starts ramping down again. And the third turbo reactivation, again, it just picks up that the flashlight is pretty hot and ramps down immediately. So it is temperature regulated. There's not a timer on there that sets it to 45 seconds and then ramps down. So it's a good thing, especially for a flashlight of this price. If you look up on the screen here, I've put some measurements taken with my Opal Light Master Pro, and the figures are based on switch on. You can see turbo specifications with 303 meters throw, but I got 310 meters. On high, I got 159 meters, still very respectable considering this is a throwy light. The CCT was between 5,500 and 5,800, and color rendering index between 68 to 69. It's not a light that has a very high color rendering index. It's more optimized for overall brightness and performance. So the beam has a very wide angled profile, almost 180 degrees, and you'll see a bit more in the Beamshots later, but it provides really good peripheral lighting, and I find the hotspots very noticeably concentrated but blends smoothly with the spill. Turbo, like I mentioned before, it steps down just after 1 minute, but I'm really happy that it is able to maintain the 2,500 to 3,000 lumens until shut off. You can reactivate turbo. Again, you need to turn the light off and then back on to turbo in order to reactivate it. A few considerations for you if you're thinking about getting this flashlight. It does have an unusual design, as you can see. It's not your usual tube sort of design that you get in a flashlight. I find it to be a little bit strange to hold in the hand, but you do definitely get used to it. It's heavy, though it does weigh a bit more, tiny bit more than my Leatherman Wave, and it will fit in your jeans pocket easily. So I'm actually surprised. I mean, when I saw this one in the advertisement, I thought to myself, there's no way I'm going to be able to fit this in my pocket. But surprisingly, you are actually able to put this in your jeans pocket if you're a workman, or if you actually use this out and about. I think this is a really good option to have. I mean, you're going to get a full day's use out of this very easy, especially if you need, a bit more of a floodier, brighter light as well. I think this is a great option. So overall, this is a very high performing flashlight that puts out a heap of light while keeping things nice and cool, holding onto the bottom part. You're not going to run out of juice in an hour, and the performance is excellent even after stepping down. So get this if you want a practical pocket rocket, where I find that these days we're flooded with high lumen, small body flashlights. Most of them can't even sustain the higher modes for longer than a minute. So if you're getting a large flashlight, you want that thing to perform. You want to make sure that you have those sustained lumens. If you're interested, I've got a special discount code in the description below. You can check it out to purchase this directly from the Wuben website. If you have any questions, let me know as well. I've probably missed out on a few things here or there, so let me know in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions. If you found the video helpful, do me a favor, click the like button. That helps my videos to get out to more people. And if you want to see me make more flashlight reviews, make sure you subscribe. Wuben X-1 on turbo. Whoa! Far out, look at that. It's just going all the way to the back, tinting those trees. Big white kind of beam. I wonder if the fan's kicking in. I can't hear it. Oh, it has. The fan's kicked in just then. It's so quiet. But you can hear it if you bring it real close to you. But look at that. If you turn it off, I mean, completely dark apart from a bit of moonlight around. Double tap and just it almost looks like it's daytime. If you turn you can sort of just getting distracted by all these sort of possums up in the trees. This is just holding it flat. You turn it sideways, you get more of this narrow beam in the center. I mean, yeah, this is probably better, I think, this way. Okay, turn it off, back on again on the lowest mode, and you just basically hold down the button, okay, and you get these different modes. That's the high mode. Okay, I think that's 2,500 lumens, and it is able to maintain that 2,500 lumens for the entire time that it's on. With this fan and the heatsink there, I think that is pretty amazing. I don't know any flashlights that you can fit in your pocket that can actually hold the output for that long. Okay, it's a 12,000 double tap. Okay, it's probably actually reduced its output a little as well. Okay, but absolutely incredible. Even after all that testing, it's still, you know, it's a little bit warm, but cool enough to hold comfortably. This fan's definitely doing a great job. The head of the flashlight is pretty hot, but where you're holding it down the bottom, not an issue at all. Okay, you can turn it off and just keep reactivating that turbo, and it ramps up again, ramps down. Something that I've noticed. So there's no sort of timer or anything like that you find on some other flashlights. You can really push it to the max, which I definitely like. Any sort of restrictions in there, but it obviously does get quite hot if you keep doing this over and over. I start feeling it come down the handle a bit now, but the light, you can see, just noticeably just ramps down faster as soon as you activate that turbo.